Welcome to Crypto Corner, your go-to source for all things crypto related. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the collapse of FTX and examine the top 5 parties responsible for it. As a crypto investor or holder, it's essential to understand what's happening behind the scenes. We'll reveal some obvious culprits, some less obvious ones, and one that will shock you. But before we get into that, we need to take a look at the charts and make sure we're all comfortable with the current market context. With conditions as volatile as they are, it would be irresponsible to start without first examining the charts. Now, let's get down to business and uncover the dark truth behind the collapse of FTX. Stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe for more crypto content. We are currently seeing Bitcoin trading near the $16,000 mark, while Ethereum is trading near the $1,100 mark, down slightly over 1% in the last 24 hours. Both scales have otherwise remained relatively stable, despite the shocking events surrounding FTX this week. With inflation slowing down, we are seeing a modest uptick in prices for risky investments like stocks, which is likely flowing into the cryptocurrency market, thus reducing FTX's influence on the relative value of alternative cryptocurrencies. It's no surprise that many are discussing viable alternatives to centralized exchanges, with the Trust Wallet token being one of the major winners. On-chain behavior has shown a significant amount of money leaving centralized exchanges, and as many cryptocurrencies struggle under the weight of the market, alternatives like Trust Wallet token are gaining traction. According to rumors, FTX Alameda and its ecosystem are tied to native tokens of initiatives or exchanges. Now, let's look at the primary villain behind the FTX crash. It's no secret that Sam Bankman, the CEO of FTX, is to blame. Many members of the cryptocurrency community are in shock because Sam keeps tweeting bizarre and cryptic messages despite the dire repercussions of his actions. A month ago, FTX was a prosperous business, and its management was held up as an example to others. However, it seems like they were smart to base so much on their backup on FTT, which is intrinsically linked to the business. Consequently, if the business is FTT, its value will fall as soon as investors start to question its viability. The collapse happened in a matter of days, with most correlated commodities experiencing a crash of over 50, and there was no bid-side liquidity. After claiming that about 25% of the bank's assets were removed due to the run, Sam discusses leverage and admits that he underestimated its impact, saying that more people should have put money into the bank. For dramatic effect, he says shrapnel, but the actual amount was closer to $13 billion. He had a method for making anonymous money transfers, and there is no doubt that he is to blame for the blatant falsehoods that surfaced. When word spread that Sam was to blame for the current state of affairs, it was only natural that speculations about his guilt would grow stranger and darker. As we go along, we will examine the other parties at fault. Next, we have the president and CEO of FTX, who is also the president and CEO of Alameda. We, as a company, believe that Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda, must bear some responsibility for the current crisis. Listen now to some of our responses about how we run Alameda, which include tweets about some of our favorite pastimes and certain footage revealing the risk management was obviously not our forte. Yes, without a doubt, taking risks is crucial. Typically, we don't use stop losses or anything similar. Caroline was in charge of Alameda's research, so this is where things start to get a little murkier in our opinion. We don't believe those are particularly effective risk management tools. The call's startling conclusion, however, comes from an unexpected source. Third parties are up next. Before being exposed to FTX, third parties were obligated to investigate the company thoroughly. Of course, they weren't doing this, because if they had, they would have found out just how much difficult we were in. Let's take a look at two recent counterparties that have publicly expressed concerns that their ability to operate has been jeopardized by their affiliation with FTX. First, in light of recent comments, it appears that BlockFi is nearing its final block and the collapse of FTX. We are less confident in predicting the future. BlockFi, located in the United States, is a cryptocurrency wallet and exchange that also functions as a lender and credit card issuer. The happenings of the past week have begun the ball rolling on several fronts. On November 8th, our founder and CEO started a thread on Twitter to reassure customers that everything was running smoothly. However, 3 days later, BlockFi tweeted that they were unable to continue business as normal and were threatening to withdraw services to their customers. Since then, it has been claimed by multiple media outlets that BlockFi is taking bankruptcy preparations. Customers of Genesis Global Capital were recently informed of a temporary transfer freeze. Genesis Global Capital's clientele are primarily institutions, and we have made payments totaling $2.8 billion. As the impacts of our collapse continued into the third quarter, we decided to halt redemptions and the issuance of new loans. Currently, Gemini and Genesis are working together through the reward program. We expressed dismay that the goals of the Earn program would not be reached and promised to work with the Genesis team to facilitate the speedy withdrawal of customers' earned funds. Some were concerned that this extended passport was being displayed after Gemini went down. But we need to keep our guard up in the future days and weeks so that we can keep track of all the fallen dominoes. Keep in mind, one of the reasons we make these calls every day is so that you can be among the first to know about another potential collapse or danger in the cryptocurrency markets. Moving on to the fourth group, we must also consider ourselves as users and how we may have contributed to the damage caused by FTX due to our own risk management practices. It's important to spread our risk equally over multiple exchanges, explore DeFi alternatives such as self-custody, external wallets, cold storage, move all but trading portfolios of the exchanges, and use leverage to minimize counterparty risk. We must take responsibility for our own risk management practices and not rely solely on the exchanges. Unfortunately, many people are left to pick up the pieces due to poor risk management practices. Now, let's discuss the fifth group that may be responsible for FTX situation. We need to examine how FTX got so big and profitable and why the situation of its balance sheet went unnoticed. It's quite shocking to consider that Sam Bankman-Fried was the second biggest donor to the Democratic Party in the United States. This fact has sparked many theories, articles, and tweets about the strategic importance of FTX to Democrats and how it may have been disguised for so long. Some people even look at what is happening to SBF right now, or the lack of it, as some sort of validation of this theory. For example, the Tornado Cash developer is still in jail without formal charges, while SBF committed a $10 billion fraud and is still playing video games in the Bahamas. It's also quite strange to see a lot of US journalists not taking SBF's action very seriously. In fact, the Wall Street Journal recently posted an article that doesn't call his actions criminal, illegal, or anything like that. Instead, it focuses on how he's still able to sleep at night. This particular article was heavily criticized on crypto Twitter, with many calling it a puff piece pushed by mainstream media. Elon Musk was the first to use the term puff piece to describe the situation. If these allegations are true, an additional truth that has come out of this matter is the following. The coverage of the FTX meltdown is incomparably faster and of better quality on Twitter than old school media. As a community, we need to examine all the factors that have led to FTX's current situation and hold all responsible parties accountable for their actions. We need to take responsibility of our own risk management practices and not rely solely on the exchanges. Furthermore, we need to be vigilant and proactive in ensuring that the cryptocurrency market remains stable and trustworthy for all its participants. It's only by working together that we can prevent such crises from happening in the future. If you're anything like us, Twitter and different platforms and social media have been your holy grail of information surrounding these events. The best way to stay up to date with cryptocurrency is now through social media platforms. So, if you want to stay up to date with exactly what is going on with real time live coverage that you can trust in a world that increasingly seems pretty untrustworthy, be sure to subscribe to Crypto Corner for daily free updates that you can actually put your faith in. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.